Last time, we exposed the cost of hyper-responsibility. In this video, I'm giving you the exact system to replace it. This is not just a mindset, not a mantra. This is a repeatable architecture for holding authority without burning out. Not with rest, not with boundaries you will never hold, but with a structural operating system that lets you lead without burning out. I am Vibhuti. I help leaders expand cognitive capacity and authority under pressure. On this channel, you will find two types of videos: destabilizers that challenge outdated leadership patterns, and installers like this one that give you systems to operate at a higher level. Now that we have exposed the cost in the last video, let's install the system that allows you to lead without carrying everything. Let's start with the reframe. Executive capacity is more important than executive effort. Effort got you here, but capacity will sustain you. They are not the same. I've used this with many leaders, managers, directors, VPs, founders, the ones who installed, who stayed, thrived. I've also seen the ones who did not burn out in 18 months. What I'm about to show you is a system with 3 layers, bottom up. We are starting with the foundation most leaders skip. The top layer, cognitive capacity, is where most leaders start. But it's the wrong place. But we will address this first because it is where you feel the load the most. Cognitive capacity is about decision compression, not making better decisions, making fewer decisions. Here is what most leaders get wrong. They try to make better decisions, but the real skill is making fewer decisions. Here is the practice: daily decision compression. Every morning, you identify 3 categories of decisions. First, non-decisions, things you will not decide today. You defer, delegate, or delete them. 2. Micro decisions, things that take under 60 seconds. Batch them. Handle them in one 15-minute block. And 3. Strategic decisions, the 1 or 2 strategic decisions that actually require your cognitive load. Everything else, not today. And here is what happens when you compress. You are not reducing your impact. You are increasing your precision. Layer 2, relational capacity. This is the hardest layer because it destabilizes identity. Relational capacity is your ability to let others carry the load without rescuing them. And if you are a high performer who has been rewarded for overfunctioning, this will feel very difficult at first. In fact, it might feel like abandonment. It's not. Here is what you should practice: delegation without rescue. When you delegate something, you set clear expectations and then you step back. And when the other person struggles, you do not jump in. You allow temporary underperformance. This is not permanent failure. This is not collapse. This is temporary inefficiency while they build the capacity. And this is the shift. You are not responsible for their comfort. You are responsible for their development. And development requires load. It requires responsibility. Second practice within this relational layer is authority without over-explaining. You give the context, you give the direction, and then you stop talking. You do not need to justify every decision. You also do not need to preempt every question. And you definitely do not need to manage the emotions for your leadership. That's not leadership. That is people pleasing disguised as leadership. The foundation is the third layer, nervous system capacity. And most leaders don't train this. Nervous system capacity is your ability to stay regulated, even under pressure or uncertainty. It's not about never activating. It's about returning to the baseline after activation. Remember from our last video? And right now, your baseline is activation. So we are going to install two practices that recalibrate it. Before any high stakes moment, a presentation, a difficult conversation, a decision meeting, you take 90 seconds. Let's try it right now. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and exhale for 6 seconds. Notice the difference? That's regulation. You do this, inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 6. And do it for 3 counts. And repeat this 3 times. That's it. That's good enough to start with. You are not trying to completely calm down here. The goal is to drop activation by 15%. Just 15%. So that you can access clarity instead of urgency. After trying this for 7 days, at the end of the week, you ask yourself a question. Where did I allow recovery this week? Not rest, recovery. Recovery is active restoration of capacity. It might be a 20-minute walk without your phone. It might be a conversation with a closed one with no agenda. It might mean a meal that you actually tasted, or 10 minutes of complete stillness. And if the answer is nowhere, that's data. No judgment. It's data about what needs to change next week. So here is the identity shift we are installing. You are moving from the strong one to the structural leader. The strong one carries. The structural leader calibrates. Let me say that again, because it is the core of the entire system. Your job is not to carry. Your job is to calibrate. Carry means you are exhausted. Calibrate means you sustain. You calibrate cognitive load. You calibrate relational capacity. And you calibrate your nervous system capacity. And when you do that, you do not lose authority. You concentrate it. Now I am going to give you something installable. A weekly loop you can repeat. This is the weekly executive audit. Every Sunday or Friday, you ask 4 questions. What did I carry this week that was not mine? Write it down. Don't judge it. Just name it. Naming it activates your prefrontal cortex, the strategic part of your brain. Question 2. Where did I overfunction? Where did you rescue? Where did you over-explain? Where did you do instead of delegate? Question 3. What can drop 10% next week? We are not talking about it completely disappearing. Just drop by 10%. One meeting you can decline, one decision you can defer, one expectation that you can release. Question 4. What decision can I delegate imperfectly? This is the key question. Not perfectly, imperfectly. Because if you wait for perfect delegation situations, you will never delegate. Here is what this audit does over time. It trains pattern recognition. You start seeing overfunctioning before you actually do it. You will start feeling when your baseline is going up before it spikes. That's the first step towards calibration. Let's ground this in how your brain actually works. When you are in chronic hyper-responsibility, your brain is operating in threat detection state. The prefrontal cortex, the strategic thinking center, is constantly being borrowed by amygdala for vigilance. That's why you cannot access long range vision. It's why you are fatigued even when you are thinking. Your brain is treating leadership like survival. The nervous system practices that we installed in this video, they are retraining your brain to realize that leadership is not threat. The 90-second reset activates your vagal brake, the mechanism that downregulates your activation. The weekly audit creates prediction accuracy. Your brain is relearning that recovery is safe, that delegation will not collapse everything. Over time, your brain stops treating every moment like a high stakes state. And that is when you get your executive capacity back. Here is what most leadership training will not tell you. This does not need more discipline. It actually requires less effort. Because you are working with your nervous system, not against it. You are freeing up capacity. If you have made it this far, you are already different. Not because you've already changed, but you have started seeing the pattern. That's structural power. If you can implement just one layer this week, start with the 90-second reset. Do it before all the next high-stake moments this week and see what shifts. And if this installed something for you, subscribe to this channel. We are building new systems across these videos. Share the changes that you observe when you practice the 90-second reset in the comments. I would love to hear your observations. If you feel that somebody else needs this breakthrough now, share this video with them. See you next time.